to the We Are West Grand Talk Show. It's time for season 2. I'm so excited to get rolling on season 2. And my first guest on the talk show is Miss Jen Stuart here at West Grand High School. Jen, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
I'm really excited to have you on. We're just now finishing up our 3rd week of the school year, which is really hard to believe. It's just amazing that already that much time has gone by. But I'm really super excited to have you here and to have a chance to visit with you a little bit. So let's just start with this. So I'm sure our viewers know who you are, but maybe just tell them a little bit about, like years of experience and some of those kinds of things.
Okay. Well, my name's Jennifer Stuart, and I teach English at West Grand High School. This is actually my 14th year teaching and my 6th year at West Grand. And I'm so happy to be here. I grew up a Mustang at Ponderosa High School in Parker, and I'm back to being a Mustang at West Grand and happy to be one. Not only am I a teacher, I am a parent of 4 teenagers. So I live with 4 teenagers and I'm surrounded by teenagers. So that's where I am in my life right now. So anyway, happy to make such a strong impression in their lives.
It's interesting. So many of us, we've chosen to go into education and so, we go to school for a living, and that's what we do. We're not professional students, but in a way we are. And it's funny, you were a Mustang in high school, and now you're a Mustang. My rival in high school was the Mustangs. Mm-hmm. And when I very first got here, I had made a post and put something like, "It's a great day to be a Mustang." And the gentleman who'd been the high school principal where I had been, he wasn't my principal, but he'd been there forever, immediately texted me and said, "What are you doing? You can't be a Mustang." And I love being a Mustang, I really do. So anyway, it's like we're professional students. We're in school all the time, and school is continuing for you. And I know right now you're working on your national board certification. Maybe tell me a little bit more about that, and what was it that inspired you to do that?
Okay. Yes, I am navigating through the national board certification. And I received an email last year that Colorado is starting a pilot program to support rural teachers in attaining their national board certification. So I did a little bit of research, and only 3% of practicing teachers in the nation have this certification, which is 118,000 teachers out of 3.2 million, if you do the math. So I've always strived to be the best at everything I do, so why would I not strive to be the best teacher I can be? And so what is this national board journey? So I applied through the Department of Education with the support of Darren and Liz Bauer, because they had to write letters of recommendation, and it was an application selection process. Unfortunately, I was chosen, and I'm one of 17 teachers from around the state that was chosen to be part of this pilot cohort program to support rural teachers in attaining their national board. It is a very rigorous process, I can tell you. Numerous hours, basically meetings and readings on top of teaching and being a mom. But it was well worth it because I've taken a number of classes over the last 4 years. So when National Board breaks it down into their 12 standards for secondary English language arts teachers, it kind of gave me an idea of how to put it all together, how to involve the community, how to hear from the parents, how to hear from the students, student voice and choice, to make the necessary changes to my classroom to prepare the students for the 21st century and the skills necessary for them to be successful. So it's a 2-year program. I just finished year 1. I submitted my work on Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to me.
There you go, right
Done.
On. Yeah.
Now I can get my first full night's sleep since November. But I actually don't find out if I pass until December. And it's because it takes so long and they're so detailed. It was a group of teachers that created this. And so they're very credible. There's good communication in the different groups, basically through social media and through my cohort group. So I feel very supported. There's other teachers that work closely with me. So I'm not teaching on an island. And that's the important thing, is that collectively, as educators, we're all trying to grow together. So I'm in my 2nd year, and hopefully I'll pass. A lot of teachers don't pass their first attempt, but I believe so.
She'll pass.
Anyway, so no, I'm really excited. And why would I become national board? Well, why wouldn't I take every opportunity to grow as a professional And then I want to share that knowledge with the staff. I'm not better than anyone. I would just like to share what's working and even share what's not working, because fail forward. And if I'm trying new things and I'm taking risks, I'm then leading by example to my students. And they all knew I was doing this and I was trying new things and differentiating to best meet the needs of the students, working closely with other departments, special ed, ELL, GT, and other content areas, just to deliver the best instruction, because really we're all here to impact student learning.
Yeah. So as you've gone through this process, I know you and I've talked, a number of times. It seems like about every 2-3 weeks I end up here in the building on your prep, and we end up talking for, should be 5 minutes, ends up being 15 or 20, which is awesome. But I'm curious, some of the things that have changed in your teaching as a result of the stuff you've learned through the national board process, through the cohort you're with, through, just through everybody who's involved.
Well, let me start by saying that it's great to teach at West Grand, because we're very supported as a staff in trying new things, taking chances, fail forward. You learn, as long as you're organized, you're going to learn from it. If you don't take chances, then you're stagnant. So as Brene Brown says, it's nice to be in the arena in this game of life, and you support us in that. So thank you. We are supported also, West Grand is supported by an organization in Steamboat, Northwest BOCES. Mm-hmm. And basically they started 4 years ago offering classes to, again, support rural teachers in professional growth in order to change our classes to match the times, because it's no longer sit behind a desk with a teacher at the front of the room and read and answer questions at the end. So anyway, to transform my classroom, I've participated in a lot of classes. But it's one thing to participate, it's another thing to implement. So what's really great about Northwest BOCES is every class I've taken through them, which right now I'm at 16. I just started another one yesterday, so 17. And why so many classes? Again, I want to continue to grow and become better for the students. That's my why. But some of the best changes I've made is through the implementation assignments I'm forced to do. Because you don't only read about it. It's like, okay, now implement it and let us know how it goes. So then reflecting on my practice. So basically, one of the most beneficial classes I took was integrating physical activity in the regular classroom through University of Northern Colorado, which I'm an alumni with my bachelor's and master's, so it was nice to be a bear again. Schools are in a pristine situation of helping students move in a stagnant world. So basically we're in a sedentary world. Unfortunately, there's too much sitting in today's world. So if every teacher gets their students up and moving for 5 to 7 minutes, that's 35 to 50 minutes of movement a day, and that doesn't count PE or sports. And everything science-wise shows a relationship between physical movement and the brain. So that's why we call it brain boost. So every day in my classroom, that's something I implemented right away, was we get up and we move. It's part of our daily routine. And the students will let me know if for some reason we're ever gonna miss it. But relationships are formed, and that's when you learn other things about students, which again, everything in life is about relationships. So if you can find another avenue to develop a relationship and make that student feel special, that's very much worth it. Plus they're up and moving, and I've been in their situation where you're like, all I really want to do is sit down. It's like, get up, Yeah. And that's Mel Robbins, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get up, and you'll be glad you did. So, maybe they at first are like, but then they end up looking forward to it.
I think, I quite often am here and I see your kids out in the hall doing the brain boost, or, see it here in the classroom. And I think there's definitely a huge benefit. When you get up and move around, and we all know what that feels like when you've sat too long. Almost every one of us has got, a smartwatch to the point tells you stand up, you've been sitting too long. But I think the additional benefit to that is that relationship piece and the way that you have been building culture in your classroom. I just think that's just an amazing thing. And it's something I've noticed just in the whole building this year, just a little bit of a change and a transition in the culture of West Grand High School. And so I'm curious, just a few weeks into the school year, kind of what are you seeing just in general at West Grand, your kids in your classroom, the kids in the hall, some of those kinds of things.
It's a very positive environment. People are happy to be here. I mean, sometimes when students are like, I have to be at school. No, you get to be at school. You get to be here. That's a mindset. So it's not have to, I get to. Because if something terrible were to happen, you wish you could be here, and we wish you could be here. So we're glad you're here. So the whole culture is very positive. I mean, you enter the building and there's music playing and a bunch of good mornings between staff and students and teachers walking around with good morning signs and high fives in the hallway. And when you come in West Grand, the Renaissance students, the students that participate in the Renaissance team, painted it with our Olympic theme. So, I mean, we're carrying our torch, and there's just a really great enthusiasm. The students, basically are very flexible and willing, they come ready and willing to learn, and they're willing to try new things. And I would say the whole staff is on board with trying new things. And it's a great time to be a teacher, because if you go with the changes and you really are committed to preparing them for 21st century skills, it's exciting and it's more fun to teach. So I'm really the facilitator of whatever activities we're doing. So I would say overall the environment in the school is very positive, and I'm glad to be a part of it. Yeah,
I definitely noticed there's just a difference this year. There's an energy about our kids, and there's an energy about the staff. I was at volleyball the other night, and I mean, it's just amazing how many people, and how many kids we have attending our volleyball games. I know we have a big volleyball tournament this weekend, home cross country meet, first home football game. I mean, just all kinds of great activities going on, some awesome things happening with FFA and robotics just getting going. There's just a lot of momentum right now, and I feel really good about it. But I want to kind of turn back a little bit to you, and let's tie the Renaissance piece to it. So you had an opportunity to attend the Renaissance Conference, and that was part of being our District Teacher of the Year, which is incredible, and congratulations for, I don't know, the 50th or 60th time, but it never gets old, does it? It's an incredible thing. So let's kind of tie those pieces together. So being the District Teacher of the Year, having an opportunity to attend the Renaissance Conference, just kind of what all do you think about when I bring those things up?
Well, let's first start with Teacher of the Year. I was surprised and honored because it is voted on by my colleagues. So sometimes when you're like, am I doing a good enough job? I want to do this better. I want to do that better. And you're constantly thinking and talking about it to your colleagues. And so when I was recognized, it was like shocking. But I'm a product of my environment. So it's everyone I'm surrounded with that's really helped me step up my game. And so I really want to thank the teachers, administrators, the paraprofessionals, every person on the West Grand staffalty gets along. So transportation, the food and beverage department, and then, the janitorial staff. It's always a good morning, how are you? How was your weekend? It's not a drag to be here. It's like a second family. So then to have the opportunity to go to Renaissance, which I was so excited about, to be around the best educators and administrators in the nation who teach for the right reasons was just a gift. I don't feel like I get overwhelmed very easily, but it was 4 days of feeling overwhelmed and just being present in that state and figuring I'll put it all together later, which I did once I stepped away, just take it all in and make sense of it later. Just a lot of energy. They balanced the instruction, the guest speakers, and fun. Because of course relationships get built during fun and even during the workshops, but yet to go to Universal Studios or to walk, Disney Boardwalk, even to go to coffee in the morning, you network, and it's an opportunity of networking with some of the best educators in the nation who teach for the right reasons, and they teach with love and effort. I see you, I hear you, I love you. And that's really where the role that schools are playing, because no matter what happens on the outside of this building, we're happy to see you, and we care about you, and we see you, we hear you, we love you. So 3.5 days of that, it was like, oh, my heart was full. So anyway, then again, it took a couple of days of winding down and making sense of it all. And, basically it's when you're thrown a lot of information, choose 3 things you're going to do well and go forward with that. And what was great is we were having staff meetings at 11 o'clock at night because it was the only time there was a break. But then to be able to revisit and share the excitement and, okay, this is great, but the conferences are even better when you actually implement things. So coming in with a plan and how are we going to keep this energy and momentum going for people that haven't been here. And I think a side note, but an important one, is in a rural district, the school is a focal point for the community. So how do we make this something so awesome that everyone wants to be a part of it? And that's when, Darren, you talk about volleyball, football, FFA, even the rafting trip today. How can we keep everyone wanting to be a part of this? This is the highlight of the weekend. I mean, it's our, as an adult and a parent and a teacher, it's my social life. I don't need to plan anything because just come to the school. Our community nights where we show different videos and have conversations with parents and community members and students about some real issues and how are we going to resolve them and coming together. That's, again, the school's the focal point for the community in rural districts, and West Grand is doing a better job of filling that role.
Well, I agree with you completely. I think that, anytime you're in a town where, there's just one high school, there are other places, that also are focal points, but really the high school becomes that center point of the community. And we have an amazing community here in West Grand. And it's been really exciting to, over the last couple of years, be able to grow into that community and be a bigger and bigger part of it. And boy, to see everybody here supporting our kids and just spending time together. I mean, it's just a great place to gather and be a part of something special, which we really believe West Grand is. So I guess the last question I have for you, Jen, is, I remember as a classroom teacher, you never felt like any day was the same. And certainly as an administrator, absolutely, you never live the same day. It's always something different, which I think keeps it fresh, keeps it exciting. So the challenge then is for you to tell me, what does a typical day look like in your classroom, whether that's from the kids' perspective or yours. It's up to you where you want to go with that.
Well, I have to address something you just said. Teachers actually make, research has shown, 700 to 1,500 decisions a day. So yes, there isn't a dull moment, and you want to be responsive and caring and loving to everyone. So what's really great is no matter what's going on in my life, when I cross that line to West Grand High School, I'm a Mustang and I'm here and I'm present because I value the students' time, my coworkers' time, your time, and I want to be a positive in everyone's day. So what does a typical day in my classroom look like? Well, I think music is, really brings out the best in a lot of us. And if we're kind of having a down day, it's like brings us back up. We're tired, it brings us back up. So luckily, someone you work closely with, Bradley Skinner, sold me a flash drive with 25,000 school appropriate songs, because that's important too. And so the students walk into music. In between passing periods, I turn it on, and if I overlook turning it on, they remind me to turn it on, because it's neat to see them come in the door dancing. And as soon as the bell rings, they engage in a quick write. I have my classroom set up in a circle of desks, and then 3 different tables.
Right over
so
here.
It's very non-traditional, but it's actually 21st century. So we really want to focus on collaboration, because that's really where everything's going. Since more and more people are specializing, collaboration is a very important skill. So we start in our circle. When the bell rings, it's a quiet, quick write to text and non-text prompts. So they write for 3 to 5 minutes, and then we get up for our physical activity, which is usually, it can be tag, it could be ultimate frisbee, it can be a conversation game, it varies. And then after that, we will have, I break it up into 4 different parts, because I took a how to teach in the block class, and it made sense. So how do I capture their attention? So we'll do a short activity with a video and a graphic organizer response. And then that has something to do with the core lesson. And then we engage with a partner. And I can basically maybe give them an article that they read and annotate, and then it's a partner pair share. And then we build, and now it's group, teacher appointed groups, and everybody has a role to maybe read and annotate an article and engage in a protocol that teaches them and kind of guides them on how to have effective communications. And if I'm filling this role, it gives me a voice in that group. And then what I think about is, okay, independent work, partner work, group work, independent work. So then the last lesson will be, again, they're all related. It'll be a lesson where the student is navigating through right now an article and reading and annotating to learn to be an active reader and be engaged. And then they'll fill out usually a graphic organizer questionnaire. And then yesterday, our exit ticket, for instance, was basically they had to add to our wall of empathy, because the discussion was, and the focus was empathy, our last article that they read. So their exit ticket was they had to fill out one color post-it note for when they received empathy and one when they gave empathy, and staple it up to our wall of empathy in the classroom so that they can visit when their classmates have received or given empathy. So that's just one day in the classroom, but we change gears quite often during the block schedule because it's an hour and 50 minutes, but we really dive deep into whatever the core subject area is. I actually don't believe in giving a lot of homework. I value their time. So when they're here, I make the most of their time. But obviously, as an English teacher, I want to teach them the life skill of reading. So they are always reading and navigating through a novel, because there's 2 independent reads a semester that I assign. So that's the only homework that they usually have.
So if you thought teachers had it easy, no, not at all. No, there is a tremendous amount of work that goes into every single day, every single class period that our teachers do. And Jen, you're an exceptional example of that. And I appreciate having you on the show today. It was a lot of fun. I'm glad we got to sit and visit a little bit. I'm glad you got a chance to listen in a little bit on our conversation. And as always, thanks for joining us. And we are West Grand.
Thank you.
Don't stop.